In this text and photo effect tutorial, we'll learn how to create one of Photoshop's most popular and classic effects, placing an image inside text. As we'll see, using clipping masks to place any image inside your text with Photoshop is simple and easy. I'll be using Photoshop CS6 here. This is the image I'll be using. And here's what the same image will look like when placed inside text. Open the image you want to place inside your text. With the image newly opened, if you look in your Layers panel, you'll see the image sitting on the background layer. We need to make a copy of this layer. Go up to the Layer menu in the menu bar along the top of the screen, choose New, then choose Layer via Copy. Or, you can select this same command from the keyboard by pressing Ctrl and J on Windows or Command and J in Macintosh. Photoshop creates a copy of the layer, names it Layer 1, and places it directly above the background layer. Next, let's add one of Photoshop's solid color fill layers to use as the background for our effect. Click on the new fill or adjustment layer icon at the bottom of the Layers panel and choose Solid Color. Photoshop will pop open the color picker so we can choose the color we want to fill the layer with. I'm going to use white for my background color by moving the color picker to the top left. Click OK when done. As the fill layer is sitting above both of our image layers, the document is now temporarily filled with white. We need to move the solid color fill layer below Layer 1. Click on the solid color fill layer, make sure you click on its little color swatch icon on the left, not the layer mask icon on the right, and with your mouse button still held down, drag the fill layer downward between the background layer and Layer 1. Click on top Layer 1 to select it. We're ready to add our text. Select Photoshop's Type tool from the Tools panel along the left of the screen. You can also select the Type tool simply by pressing the letter T on your keyboard. With the Type tool selected, go up to the Options bar along the top of the screen and choose your font. Since our goal is to place an image within the text, generally fonts with thick letters work best. I'm going to choose Arial Black, but of course you can choose any font you like. Don't worry about the font size for now. We'll resize the type manually later. This next step isn't absolutely necessary, but to help us see the text as we're adding it, let's set our type color to white. If your type color is already set to white or some other color you can easily see in front of your image, you can skip this step. To change the type color, click on the color swatch in the options bar. This once again opens the color picker. I'll choose white just as I did before. Click OK when you're done to close out of the color picker. With your type tool selected, your font chosen and your type color set to white, click inside your document and add your text. I'll type the word travel. Click the check mark in the options bar when you're done to accept your text and exit out of text editing mode. If we look in the Layers panel, we see our newly added type layer sitting above Layer 1, which is why the text is appearing in front of the image in the document. We need to move it below Layer 1. Click on the type layer and, with your mouse button still held down, drag it downward between Layer 1 and the solid color fill layer. Click once again on Layer 1 to select it and make it active. With Layer 1 selected, click on the small menu icon in the top right corner of the Layers panel. Choose Create Clipping Mask from the menu that appears. This clips the image on Layer 1 to the text on the type layer below it, meaning that only the area of the image that sits directly above the actual text on the type layer remains visible, creating the illusion that the image is inside the text. The rest of the image is now hidden from view, and in its place, we see the solid white fill layer. If we look again in the Layers panel, we see that layer 1 has been indented to the right, with a small arrow pointing down at the type layer below it. This is how Photoshop lets us know that the type layer is being used as a clipping mask for layer 1. Click on the type layer to select it and make it active. All that's left to do now is to move and resize the type, and we can do both of those things using Photoshop's free transform command. With the type layer selected, go up to the edit menu at the top of the screen and choose free transform. Or, press Ctrl and T for Windows or Command and T for Macintosh on your keyboard to select free transform with the shortcut. This places the free transform box and handles around the text. To resize it, simply click and drag any of the handle at the corners. If you want to resize the type without distorting the original shapes of the letters, hold down your Shift key as you drag any of the four corner handles. You can also resize the text from its center by holding down the Alt or Option key as you drag. Finally, to move the text, click inside the free transform box and drag it into position with your mouse. When you're done, hit the tick icon in the options bar to accept the transformation and exit out of free transform. This final step is optional, but to complete the effect, I'll add a drop shadow. If you want to follow along, with the type layer still active, click on the Layer Styles icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. Choose Drop Shadow from the bottom of the list that appears. This opens the Layer Style dialog box set to the Drop Shadow options in the middle column. I'll increase the opacity of the drop shadow from its default value of 75% to 100%, then I'll set the angle of the shadow to 90 degrees. I'll increase my distance value to 10 pixel and the size also to 10 pixel, but these two values depend a lot on the size of your image, so you may need to play around with them on your own to find the settings that work best. Click OK to close out of the Layer Style dialog box, and we're done. Here, after adding a drop shadow to the letters, is my final image in text result. And there we have it. That's how to easily place an image inside text using clipping mask in Photoshop. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to watch other videos in my channel.